Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. For 100 years, the galaxy has been a chessboard for the Aethel-Kahn hegemony. They were the architects of order, an ancient, golden-skinned race that viewed the universe as their personal garden. They didn't invade, they pruned. They were the ones who sent the Vorash to raid our trade routes, the Kyrath to glass our deserts, and the Skrull to nest in our cities. To the Emperor of the Aethel-Kahn, humanity was a weed, a stubborn, dirty, loud-mouthed weed that refused to be pulled. They underestimated us. They thought our rage would burn out. They thought we would stay on our side of the fence once we defended our home. They were wrong. On Earth, we have a very old saying, don't start a fight you aren't prepared to finish. And the Iron Vanguard? We were built to finish things. The final battle didn't take place in deep space. It didn't take place in a colony. It took place on Aethel-Kahn Prime, the homeworld of the hegemony. The human fleet, a ragged, scarred, and utterly terrifying armada of 5,000 ships, broke through the Aethel-Kahn invincible orbital ring in a matter of hours. We didn't use finesse. We used the kinetic hammers and the scrapyard fleet. We turned their own orbital shipyards into projectiles and hurled them at the planet's surface. But the real war, the war that would end the hegemony forever, was on the ground. General Marcus Vance stood on the ramp of the dreadnought Vengeance, as it entered the atmosphere of Aethel-Kahn Prime. Below him was the Imperial Citadel, a city of floating islands and white marble towers that had never seen a speck of dust in 10 millennia. Listen up, Vanguard. Vance's voice boomed over the wideband channel, reaching every soldier in the 5-mile-long invasion corridor. For a century these bastards have treated us like a nuisance. They sent their pets to kill our children. They sat on their golden thrones and watched us bleed for their amusement. Well, the party's over. Today we aren't just taking a city. We're taking their pride. We're taking their future. And we're taking their emperor. And oh quarter, the army roared back. The invasion was a symphony of Iron Vanguard specialties. The Helljumpers dropped first, 5,000 pods screaming through the golden clouds, slamming into the anti-aircraft batteries and silencing them with melta charges. The Mammoth tanks followed, dropped from heavy-lift freighters directly into the Imperial Gardens, their treads crushing million-credit sacred flowers into the mud. The Bioslayers moved in pairs, their chainswords humming as they carved through the Emperor's Gene Guard, mutated giants designed to be perfect protectors. Vance led the 1st Division up the Stairway of the Sun, a 3-mile-long climb leading to the Obsidian Throne Room. The Aethel-Kahn soldiers were beautiful. Their armor was etched with poetry, their weapons fired beams of pure, harmonic light. They fought with grace and precision. But they were fighting the Iron Vanguard. They were fighting men and women who had survived the frozen trenches of Nox Prime and the mud of the Atacama. They're too pretty to die. Sergeant Jax laughed, ducking under a harmonic beam and blowing the chest out of an Aethel-Kahn noble with a rail shotgun. Let's fix that. The humans moved like a landslide. We didn't stop to admire the art. We used the marble statues as cover and the silk tapestries to wipe the grease off our rifles. Every time the Aethel-Kahn tried to retreat into a sacred sanctuary, the humans simply blew the doors off the hinges. By the 4th hour, the Iron Vanguard had reached the obsidian doors. These were 60-foot-tall slabs of solid volcanic glass, reinforced with personal energy shields. Behind them sat the God Emperor of the hegemony. "General, the shields are holding," a technician reported. "Our railguns are just bouncing off." Vance looked at the doors. He looked at his soldiers, covered in soot, blood, and the grime of a dozen worlds. He saw Captain Lena Vance, Ghost, and Sergeant Silas Graves, Grim, standing at the front of the line. "We don't need a railgun," Vance said. "We have the spite driver." A massive, repurposed mining drill, bolted to the front of a Mammoth tank, was brought forward. It was a crude, ugly machine designed to grind through asteroids. "Grind it," Vance ordered. The sound was unbearable, the shriek of industrial diamonds against ancient energy shields. For 10 minutes, the Vanguard stood there, the sparks illuminating their scarred helmets. Then, with a sound like the world cracking in half, the obsidian doors shattered. Vance stepped into the throne room. It was a place of impossible beauty. The floor was a single sheet of liquid gold. The ceiling showed the movements of the stars. And at the far end, sitting on a throne carved from a single diamond, was the Emperor. He was tall, glowing with a soft inner light, and his face was a mask of cold, immortal disgust. "You have stained my halls," the Emperor said, his voice echoing with a psychic weight that made the soldiers' knees buckle. "You are a plague of dust and iron. You think you have won? I am the light of this galaxy. Without me, you are nothing but animals in the dark." Vance didn't buckle. He walked across the liquid gold floor, his heavy, mud-caked boots leaving dark, permanent stains on the divine surface. Clomp, clomp, clomp. Vance stopped 3 feet from the throne. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, dented metal object. He tossed it onto the Emperor's lap. It was a child's toy, a small wooden horse charred by fire. "That's from Viridia Prime," Vance said, his voice low and dangerous. "It belonged to a girl named Mia. She didn't know anything about your order, or your light. She just knew that a Skrull raider burned her house down while your ships watched from orbit." The Emperor looked at the toy with genuine confusion. A triviality. The cycle of life requires. Vance didn't let him finish. He reached out, grabbed the Emperor by his golden collar, and hauled him off his diamond throne. The Emperor shrieked as he was slammed face-first into the liquid gold floor. The Iron Vanguard soldiers moved in, their rifles leveled at the immortal guards who were frozen in shock. "Your cycle is over, pal," Vance said, leaning down. "You want to talk about light? We brought the fire. You want to talk about order? We're the ones who are going to clean up the mess you made." Vance stood up and signaled to his soldiers. "Take him to the transport. He's going to Earth. He's going to stand in front of every survivor of every colony he pruned, and he's going to explain his philosophy to them." As the Emperor was dragged away, screaming about the sacrilege of being touched by human hands, Vance walked to the center of the throne room. He took the tattered, dirt-stained Terran flag from his belt. He didn't hang it on a wall. He jammed the pole directly into the Emperor's diamond throne, shattering the seat of power. The flag of Earth fluttered in the smoke-filled air of the palace. The final retribution wasn't a genocide. The humans didn't destroy Aethel-Kahn Prime. We did something much worse to an empire built on arrogance. We made them irrelevant. We turned their palaces into museums, their gardens into parks, and their gods into prisoners. The Galactic Council, seeing the fall of the Aethel-Kahn, finally understood the truth of the Iron Vanguard. We weren't a species that wanted to rule. We were a species that just wanted to be left alone. But if you force us to fight, we won't stop until the very concept of your empire is a footnote in a human history book. General Marcus Vance stood on the balcony of the palace, looking out at the sunset of Aethel-Kahn. His daughter, Lena, walked up beside him. "Is it over, Dad?" she asked, wiping a smudge of purple blood from her cheek. Vance looked at the human ships filling the sky, the iron tide finally at rest. "For them?" "Yeah," Vance said. "For us. We've got a lot of building to do. But first..." He looked at his scarred, tired soldiers. "First, I think we all need a very long nap." Humanity had proven the final Iron Vanguard HFY truth. The galaxy is a big, beautiful place and there's room for everyone. But if you try to make yourself the master of the stars, the humans will come for you. And when they do, they won't bring poems. They'll bring the Iron Vanguard. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. The Emperor has fallen. The Vanguard is going home. If you enjoyed the conclusion of the Iron Vanguard arc, hit that like button. Comment below, what should be the first law of the new human-led galaxy? Subscribe for the next saga, the Void Walkers. The throne is broken. The war is won.